Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. You hear that patriotic music. It can mean but one thing. It's Ryder Cup season, but also it's time, again, for Mark Titus's America's Team Power Rankings. We do it every week here as we try to parse who our favorite teams to cheer for are. Marky, what we got, dude?
We're going to make this one easy, T-Bob. Ryder Cup is here.
Yep.
The America's Team Power Rankings, it's it. There's only one team. It's the United States of America. I'm going to be honest, I barely know how the format works. I know even less about the history of this event. I just know it matters, and I know this. I know when the Stars and Stripes are in an athletic competition, I will care greatly about it, especially when we're going up against Team Europe and something. The idea of Europe versus America gets the blood flowing. I'm very excited for the Ryder Cup, despite, again, like PFT and I were talking before the show. The Ryder Cup is something that if you ask me, do I know what it is and how it works, I say yes. If there are any follow-up questions, I crumble. I crumble immediately where I'm like, I don't actually know, but I know it's golf, I know it's match play, and I know it starts on Friday, and I'm very excited for it.
Well, guys, it's perfect because we have the best possible man to come in and help educate us, and that's Riggs from the ForePlay Pod. Riggsy, what's up, baby? How we feeling, dude? Are you starting to get a little adrenaline yet?
Yeah, it's been a lot of talk, I feel like, for us for weeks, basically, especially if you do a golf podcast twice a week. All we've talked about is the Ryder Cup. So the fact that it's tomorrow is unbelievably exciting. So we're ready to get this thing rocking. I do like that, the average sports fan, it feels like, just wants USA to win and has no idea how it works.
Yep.
I think that's exactly how it should be. It's perfect.
It's 14.5, right? That's the magic number?
Yeah, we got to get 14.5. They do you can retain the cup situation, which is a little bit debatable. Like we're not big fans of tying here in the United States of America, but if you tie, whoever most recently won the cup keeps the cup. Europe kicked our asses 2 years ago, so we got to get 14.5 points.
I also love the home crowds during the Ryder Cup. You see over in Europe, they get really into it. They've got the chants. They're like very rowdy, but also respectful at the time when it comes, when you actually have to do your swing and hit the ball, they'll shut up for a second. What do you expect out of the Long Island fans in the United States here? Because I feel like we really need the Stu Finders of the world to show up and make their presence known.
Yeah, Stu was enlisted by the Ryder Cup and the PGA of America to do a little narration. That's how much they rely on him. And, I think maybe 10 years ago or so, whenever this was announced, people looked at Bethpage Ryder Cup in the future and were like, that could be a real serious problem. It's such a issue that one of the former European Ryder Cuppers, Coulthard, warned that like the wives and girlfriends and children of the European players probably shouldn't even attend the event. I think that's probably going a little bit too far.
Good sports town.
Yeah, the European players were wearing VR headsets last week to try to simulate what the American crowd might be like when they're trying to hit shots.
No. Is that true, Riggs?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that true?
Oh, yeah. Facts only. Facts only. So, yeah, they're trying to gear up for something pretty intense. And, I think it's almost making it worse that everyone's like, what are the Long Island fans going to do? Because you're sort of challenging these folks that are going out there paying $750 for tickets if they get them at face value, and they're not going to waste $1. So it could be pretty intense.
I am challenging them. I'd like to make that clear. This is a challenge.
Riggs, is it hyperbole to say that the fact that it is in New York on Long Island is the reason why we're favored? Because I feel like Europe, I mean, you're the golf expert. I don't know a ton about it, but it feels like Europe has a better team. You said 2 years ago they kicked our ass. But we're favored. Is it like, is that the reason why? Because the fans are going to be insane?
The fans are a huge factor of it. I think that, the golfers just in general don't play with fans really rooting for anything other than great golf. I mean, obviously you see Tiger Woods gets huge crowds. Rory's a favorite. Scotty's a favorite. You see a little bit of that, but generally fans rooting against players. We see it at the WM Phoenix Open every year where it kind of can affect some people differently than others. And then the other thing, there hasn't been a Ryder Cup won by the away team in 13 years, and there hasn't been a Ryder Cup closer than 5-point differential since that time in 2012. So it's not only been the home team winning, it's been the home team just dominating. And a lot of that, too, is you have the course setup advantage. So if you're the home team, you get to prepare the golf course in the months leading up to it however you think is statistically favoring your team. So the U.S., for example, we're a little bit wilder off the tee, hit it maybe a little bit farther. So our team kind of cuts down the rough and turns it into more of a driver and a wedge competition. We want to make more birdies. When we go over to Europe, they know that we're a little crazy off the tee, so they tighten that whole thing up. They make the rough crazy long, and they make it way more important to hit it straight, and they beat us in Europe. So it's a little bit, it's not a little bit, it's a lot of bit of a home team advantage.
So what about the matchups? I know the captain sets the matchups. I think that's coming out later on today is when they submit them. What's the strategy for the United States? Like, do we have guys that we would like to see go up against other certain golfers on Europe? Like, what's the strategy behind coming up with your lineup card?
Yeah, it's weird because the formats, and I know Titus kind of let it off with we have no idea what the formats are. They play a format that they don't really ever play ever any other time of the year, which is alternate shot, which is a great format. But that the rules of alternate shot, you have to use the same golf ball. And believe it or not, if you're not a big golf guru, we're not even really big golf gurus. We just enjoy the game and play it pretty terribly, but people seem to enjoy it sometimes. If you are into the nuts and bolts of golf, the spinniness and the type of a golf ball that players use is dramatically different from player to player. And so if you match two guys together who play alternate shot and they have to play a golf ball they're wildly unfamiliar with, they spend years and years perfecting one golf ball, play a different one, actually has kind of a big difference. So pairing players together based on the golf ball they use, based on sort of complementing each other's data and kind of what they're good at, what they're not good at, all that's more important than like matching people up, because in the President's Cup, which is the U.S. against the internationals every other year, which doesn't really have the juice of the Ryder Cup, but it's trying to get closer. They do a, the one captain presents their pairing, and then the other captain matches the pairing. So you do direct matchups. In the Ryder Cup, you just set your lineup, and it's kind of blind how it matches up against the other team. So you can't really like curate it to how you're going to beat the other team. You just try to use, and now it's a lot of money ball involved in golf, where they hire these consultants that look at all the data and they pair people that way. So you're sort of just trying to get the most out of your pairings, and you just can't predict who you're going to pair up against on the other side.
Okay.
Riggs, great answers, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning so much.
This is incredible.
This is incredible.
Ryder Cup, baby. Let's go. This is the one thing we like really, really care about. So you can tell we kind of know a little
And now
bit about
I'm shouting because it's like during Four Nations. I was cosplaying as a super big hockey fan. I'm like ready to be a golf guy this weekend.
Yeah, until when we lost in the finals, then I was just like, yeah, it's an exhibition.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
care about
and we were out.
So that's actually what I was going to ask Riggs is, Riggs, I'm about as casual of a golf guy as they come. Obviously, you are not. If the U.S. loses this, how long will you be upset and how much will you be upset?
Yeah, this would be the most catastrophic golf loss of our time, I think.
Oh, wow.
Whoa,
like
of our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think so. And we only get it every 2 years. And the buildup and the hype and all, it's turned into, and this is something we kind of for the last month or so have been saying, this will be the biggest spectacle in the history of golf. Like, golf has never been bigger than it probably is right now on the whole. I mean, I know obviously Tiger Woods and Tiger Mania in the early 2000s, but with Live and the Tour and how much people talk about that, the ratings throughout golf season this year were extremely high. You have Rory winning the Masters. You have Scotty then taking back over. Obviously, the two of them are the leaders of opposite teams in this. You've got golf booming since COVID and has never been more popular. More people are playing golf than ever. And the fact that the Ryder Cup and the PGA of America are complete sellouts when it comes to just the commercialization of this entire game. Whereas, like, when you look at the Masters tournament, the Masters is year in, year out. Obviously, everybody knows the Masters. It's cherished. We only talk amazingly about the Masters. But they keep it kind of tight at Augusta National. They're not keeping anything tight at Bethpage Black this week out here on Long Island. It's like, go, go, go. Send it as hard as you can. The fans feel like they are, unshackled for the first time as golf fans when they come out to an event like this. So, yeah, I think this is going to be as big as it gets. And it's a little bit like tennis. Like, you have to hold serve when you're the home team. Rory McIlroy after Rome 2 years ago, where we got completely demolished in embarrassing fashion. You know, Rory at the end of the press conference when all the Euros, they all do like the neck hugging and stuff where they touch each other and they're like closer than Americans physically. It feels like they're doing that whole thing, having a couple drinks in the press conference. And he said, I think the biggest accomplishment in the game that you can have right now is to win an away Ryder Cup, and we're going to go do that at Bethpage. And he banged his hand on the table. So I think if they come into our backyard with Keegan, who's a went to college in New York, he's a Northeastern guy, him being the captain with all the history with New York as like our biggest city, our biggest sports city, the whole deal. This is, if we win, Keegan is this heroic figure who was a shocking pick as captain. He's probably going to remain captain when we charge back to Europe in 2 years. It'll be unbelievable. And if we lose, it's just a complete disaster because you're supposed to win on home soil. So it's a little nervy in that sense, and it makes it probably a little harder for the American guys to play. But I still think we're favored for a reason, and favored pretty heavily. A home team should win.
All right. Jerry, you got anything?
Yeah, I got some. Riggsy, I think we liked the same video. I think it was on Facebook or Instagram. I'm not sure. But it was and I'm still confused about it. I didn't really understand the video, but I seen that you liked it. It was the envelope rule. Do you remember liking that? The Keegan has to put a player's name in the envelope for the end in case something is like an injury or something like that?
Yeah, it's only happened a few times, and I didn't even know that this was technically a rule, Jerry. I'm glad that you brought that up. But they don't do alternates for the Ryder Cup, so you pick your 12 players. 6 of them qualify automatically. 6 of them are captain's picks. And then in case the other team, somebody gets injured on the other team or something occurs, anything could happen where somebody on the other team can't play, that's fine on Friday. That's fine on Saturday because you don't play all your players anyways. Sunday, you just roll out all 12 players and all of your guys play a singles match. All their guys play a singles match, 12 points on the line, and you could kind of flip the whole script because there's so many points on the line. And they have this rule that if somebody gets injured, you have pre-designated basically your worst person, you think, before the event starts to kind of take one for the team so that no team gets an automatic win. They call it an automatic draw, and one of your players just doesn't play on Sunday.
Does that play?
Oh, man,
yeah.
you don't want to know that you're named in that.
Yeah.
No, they burn it.
That's wild.
They used to
burn it.
burn it, but I think now they maybe show it sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of a wild.
That's wild.
Riggs, so I got a question about the course itself because you've played this course multiple times, correct? So
Yes.
how and this might be tough to explain to the layman, but can you kind of help us understand maybe some of the like idiosyncrasies or how it plays, how it feels?
Yeah, Bethpage Black, I mean, they have a sign notoriously on the first tee. Look at that beautiful motion. They have a sign on the first tee that's like a warning sign that's kind of famous. And it's just notoriously an incredibly difficult golf course to the point where it's hosted 2 U.S. Opens. As you guys know, U.S. Open, we always root for the golf course in the major championships. Mm-hmm. If they're bringing U.S. Opens to a place, that means it's incredibly difficult. But with how good these guys are now, it comes down a lot more to how they set it up. So Bethpage has such a cool aura of publicly accessible golf. And Bethpage Black, at a time where golf's getting insanely expensive, as much as people are playing it, as high as the demand is, all that, Bethpage Black forever and ever and ever has been like, if you have a New York State ID, you can play a major championship course, a Ryder Cup hosting type venue for like $70 or $75.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And so people will go sleep in their cars because they have an allotted amount of tee times each day for a first come, first serve basis. So it's this iconic sort of like blue collar accessible venue where people can literally sleep in their cars, get up and get a chance to play a bucket list place like Bethpage Black. Like Frankie got married at Bethpage Black. So it's this on Long Island, like New York, it is this really, really well-known, cool, accessible venue that's really difficult. It's got narrow fairways, long rough, elevated greens, which essentially, when you're hitting uphill all the time to kind of a blind shot, it's difficult. There's bunkers all over the place. Again, I do think because we are the home team and Captain Keegan gets to set it up, that we're looking for way more birdies. So the rough's really not that crazy off the tee. So I think you're going to see a lot of fireworks, kind of in the golf sense, where people are pulling out driver and just sending it. And you're going to see it a lot on the first tee. It's going to look crazy on the first tee because longer hitters are going to be looking. There's this huge grove of trees on the right. And the longer hitters, it's going to look like they're just teeing off into the trees because they're trying to hit it like 350 yards over the trees onto the greens. You're going to see some crazy stuff like that. But yeah, it's usually a notoriously hard golf course for the amateur. But this week, I think they're going to light it up pretty good.
What about conceding putts in a Ryder Cup? Does it ever get a little testy if you don't give a guy a putt? It's like 2.5 feet, 3 feet. Because I would go into it, if I'm the U.S., I would just say, we're not conceding anything all weekend.
Yeah.
Don't give us anything. We're not going to expect it from you guys, but we're not going to make a judgment call about like a 2.5-foot putt where there's a little bit of break. Let's just say handshake agreement, ball and hole. Let's play golf.
Yeah, you're going to see what you're going to see this week at some point is the old lay the putter down move as a slight to your opponent for not conceding a putt. So people will do that. You know, someone will not concede like a 2.5-foot putt. They'll make the putt, and then afterwards, as a show of, believing your opponent showed poor sportsmanship, they will lay their putter down between where their ball was in the hole. And if it's shorter than a putter length in golf, that is generally known as very rude not to concede that putt. That's our golf version of like getting mad at the other person. So you'll see that a little bit. Otherwise,
It's your version of the step over.
That's exactly it. So you might see a little bit of that. That might get contested out there.
All right.
Riggs, cannot thank you enough, man. This was awesome, dude. I'm legitimately now way more excited than I was previously. I feel so much more educated on it. Guys, everybody should check out the ForePlay pod. New episodes every Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's obviously a massive week. I mean, it's the match of our times.
Yeah.
We just established it. It is the match of our time. Riggsy, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Riggs.
USA,
Riggs.
thank you guys.
Ruin all of Frankie's beautiful wedding memories if they lose the Ryder Cup.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
He can't look at those pictures
Devastated.
anymore.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I'm not being facetious. Like, I haven't been very. I've just always told me, I'm not going. I haven't been very excited. Like, now that I understand the dynamics and everything that Riggs laid out, like, yeah, I'm pretty freaking pumped, dude.
Yeah, the alternate shot's crazy.
I'm just gonna be with like the ball. I'm just gonna be way overwhelmed on Saturday.